How y'all doing? Um, I was wanting to talk about an incident that happened with me. I reckon it was about 30 years ago, and I'm not sure. It's not easy for me to say it on here. It's not like I'm talking with my wife or something. So I feel kind of skittish about going live and telling this, but um, I was the type of guy that liked to. I didn't. I used to hunt a lot, and I would not leave those woods until it got dark. I loved it that much. But one day I was circling a block in my truck and I saw where um, a few hogs had come across the road and they was going into a block that I was familiar with, and I thought this would be an easy kill right here. I'll get me some pork. And I had a 308 automatic Winchester in my hand. And you know, when you got something like that, there's nothing you should be scared of when you got a weapon like that. And when I got out of the truck, I could hear the squirrels carrying on, and I knew that they was barking at the wild hogs. And I said, well, once I get in there, I should be able to locate them because there's a lot of water in there and they'll be making a lot of racket. Excuse me. I got sinus trouble. But when I got in there, uh, me getting in such a hurry, excuse me, um, I got in such a hurry when I was going in there that I didn't pay attention to the fact that the squirrels had got quiet. And when I did realize it, it was so dead quiet in there. You could have heard a pin drop. Um, and for the first time in my life, with gun in hand, I was horrified, um, to the point that I was shaking all over. And as my uncle used to tell me, he'd say, Daniel, there ain't nothing in them woods that we ain't seen before. You ain't got nothing to be worried about. But that's not true. I can't positively say it was a Bigfoot or a skunk ape, as so many have seen them. But I'm telling you now, I was horrified because suddenly I knew that something wanted to kill me. And as weird as that sounds, that's a feeling like you never want to feel. It's I knew that something wanted to kill me and it had pure hate towards me. And it was so bad that I was scanning the trees everywhere. I mean, I had tunnel vision. It was just back and forth looking. It what's in the trees? What would be in the trees? What would be up in the trees? I don't know. if that's where I was, my mind was thinking that I can't understand this. I've listened to a lot of people give their accounts of this horrific fear that comes upon them when they see um, skunk apes or Sasquatch. And, just putting two and two together, I got to thinking maybe um, there's something to this. The name of the place where this happened to me, and by the way, let me tell you the rest of the story and I'll tell you more. I had to leave this place. I never would leave the woods. I had a gun that you could have took out a moose with it, in my opinion. Not that I've ever hunted for moose, but it was a mighty fine rifle. And there's no reason in the world I should be scared about anything with an automatic rifle in my hand. This had me horrified, and I knew it. I knew something was there. It, if I think about it now, it reminds me of, like when you go hunting, you're sitting in a tree stand, squirrels go slam crazy, the crows go crazy, they're telling on you, and you'll say to yourself, you know what, there's a mighty lot of squirrels in here. Um, After deer season's over, I think I'll go in there and hunt me some squirrels. But when you go in there, squirrels know you're hunting them. You won't hear a peep out of them. They know. And I'm just wondering, is that what happened with me? That I knew something wanted to do me physical harm like no other. And I got in my truck. I got there as fast as I could. It literally felt like it was on me, behind me. And it felt like I was being chased out of there. And I'm telling you now, that's a horror that has never left me of that place. The name of the place is called the Garden Lakes. It's a place in what we used to call Gibson's Pasture in Taylor County, Florida. Where I was at is what is known as the Lower Lakes because it's actually a big sinkhole. And it's funny we call it the lakes, but that's what we call it. And I asked Dad years before this happened, I said, why do they call it the Garden Lakes? He says, son, it's because old timers used to say a woman would come up out of the water and scream. And so they called it the Garden Lakes. And I thought to myself, it's probably a panther or something, and, you know, that was screaming. Beginning to wonder about that now. That'd have to be a mighty loud scream. I wonder. Um, a buddy of mine, after I told him, well, actually, I worked with him. He was an older gentleman. Um, he told me he was hunting in that area. It was probably, I don't know, less than a quarter of a mile from there. It's a lot less, probably. And he he said he was duck hunting, and there was a pile of logs out in the cut down where he was at. And he said the thing looked like an orangutan. His hair was red. He had long hair, and he said it was about 7 foot tall. And he said he peppered it with a shotgun. And he said, I've never seen anything run so fast. And he said, I bet that's what you run into. And I'm thinking to myself now that I'm older, maybe that was the woman screaming. Maybe is it possible? I mean, could it have been something like that? A skunk ape living in that area, and the old timers heard them scream. And so they called the place the Golden Lakes. I don't know. All I know is I've had nightmares ever since that happened. Later on in years, I'd say probably about 6 years ago, I was at the Also the Sinks. Excuse me. And I was fishing. And I like to take my nephews with me or my son or all of them. Take them bunch of goofs out there and let them catch a mess of fish so we can have us a little fish ride home. But the boys wasn't able to go with me that weekend, and I went. And like I said, the place is called the Also the Saints, and it's a bunch of sinks that pan off from where the Also River goes underground. Excuse me, my sinuses is so bad. Um, but the Also goes underground there, and I was at one of those sinks, and it used to like catch a fine mess of fish in there. I said, well, I'll go by myself. It's no biggie. And as I was fishing, something just seemed weird. I don't know how to explain it, but something was just weird about the place. It just did something didn't seem right. And I was kind of on alert at that time, but not scared. It just what I mean. Something don't seem right. It doesn't mean necessarily mean that you're in danger or anything like that. But I kept on fishing, and I thought, well, I'll catch me a mess of fish and go home. Too bad the boys ain't with me. And after I got through fishing that one sink, I went to another. We got nature trails where it goes along the side of them sinkholes. And I heard my nephew call my name, just as plain as day, Uncle Daniel. And I yelled back. I says, "Boy, how did you get here? It sounded like they were at my truck and they were calling my name." I said, "Well, let me go back to the truck." And I reckon it was about the distance of maybe half the length of a football field. It wasn't very far. And when I got back to the truck, there wasn't nobody there. I yelled. I says, "Where you at?" Because I'm telling you, it wasn't my imagination. I heard my name called, Uncle Daniel, and it was by my nephew, little Rick. And I kind of just chalked it off to nothing. I thought, well, that's kind of weird. So while I was back at the truck, I had pulled my truck up to a sinkhole coming from a real windy tram road. You have to back out real careful out of there or you hit a tree. It's a tight spot. So I went on the other side of the sinkhole from the truck and I started fishing. And all of a sudden, it sounded like something. It sounded like it sounded like either a really big limb falling, or it was a tree. And you can never tell, if it's a rotten tree or whatever, but it was a tree fell. I said, well, that's nothing. You got to watch out. Trees fall around here all the time. But what bothers me is what happened next while I was fishing. Something was in back of me, breaking the limbs and just tearing down. It sounded like what I would imagine a moose would sound like. We don't have moose over here, but I'm just saying it was that loud. And I thought, well, it can't be a bear. You'd hear a bear. You'd hear him carrying on. It wasn't a bear. Suddenly it stopped while I was fishing. And you said, well, I'm glad it stopped. Now carry on. Let's keep fishing. And I'm being honest with you. I just didn't get scared in the woods like that, other than that one time. But that feeling come back, and I remembered everything. I could not get out of that trail fast enough. Whatever it was, I don't know if I heard a sound. If it made a sound, something happened, but I couldn't get to my truck fast enough. I got in that thing, and I ain't went back to that place, and I'm not going back no more without taking somebody with me. Well, you'll say, I ain't a Bigfoot. You don't know if that's a Bigfoot. I don't know. But I'm telling you something. You know when something is trying to hurt you. Just like I said, a squirrel knows when he's being hunted. You'll get that feeling. And I had that feeling again. Something wanted me out of there, and it was raising Cain in the back of me. It. I never heard anything. It sounded like it was breaking branches as big around as my arm. Whatever it was bad. Um, I've heard so many videos. I've watched them, and again, like I said, I don't know what it was, but it seems to fit the bill. I'm not scared of a panther, cat, or a bear. I'm not scared. I've walked up on them. They don't scare me. What scares me is being projected at me that's trying to scare me. I don't know if it wanted me out of there. And maybe that's what it was. But I'm telling you something, there's something evil out there. And that's what I believe. Now, some of my kin folks might think, well, Daniel, you just exaggerate. Fine, whatever. If you feel that way. But I'm telling you, you know, just like you know when somebody wants to hurt you when you're around them, you can see the expression on their face. You can tell if somebody dislikes you by the expression on their face. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, I felt somebody looking at me and I turned around and there was somebody standing there. And it didn't matter how far away they was. Whatever it is, I think we need to be careful about going by ourselves in the woods alone, even with a weapon. I've listened to David Pilates talk about how people get lost, and when they find them, oftentimes they find them without their clothes, or they'll find them without their shoes, or they'll find them face down in the creek, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's because they went alone. I don't know what it is. There's more little tidbits to this story that's not just this. Um, I'm pretty sure I saw one at the Encofina River Bridge one night. At that time, I'd never seen a bear, and I'd heard of bears standing up on their hind legs, but this thing didn't look like a bear, but I assumed it was a bear because it was big and black. It appeared to be, if I had to guess, in between 7 and 8 foot tall. And I don't think we got bears that tall here. Yeah, but I saw this, I don't know, maybe about 30 years ago. Like I said, you gotta, looking back and putting things together, you gotta wonder, could have been that. Standing across the highway, my friend, the way he described the skunk ape that he shot, at that time, that you didn't hear about people talking. This is several years ago when I was like, I don't know, maybe in my early 20s. You never heard about red Bigfoots, blonde Bigfoots, um, white Bigfoots. You didn't hear about that. Bigfoot's supposed to be a big black thing like Patty, just a big old booger. And especially here in my county, nobody would have thought that it'd been something like that here in Florida. If you believe in Bigfoot, you believe they're in California and Oregon and maybe Canada or something like that. That's what you that's what you think about. But he said this one was a red one like an orangutan. And he said this joker was booking it. He said he was fast. He said I never seen anything. He said it went so fast over the log pile. He could barely get a shot in on it anyway. He said he peppered him with his bird shot. He said it didn't hurt him with no way. He said he had a long red hair on him. Could have could this have been the reason why they call the place the Golden Lakes? The guy next door to me, an older gentleman, and I believe he's a credible guy, just as my friend was a supervisor, and I never known him to tell lies, which I reckon we both told lies, but I never known him to exaggerate about something like that. Why would you put yourself out there and say you shot a Bigfoot, knowing full well you're going to look like an idiot, especially to the people that you work for, and the people that work under you. That make you look like an idiot. This man was not an idiot. My next door neighbor said he saw one eating out of a dumpster. Just just in town, we got plenty of woods in town. Said he saw it. He said there wasn't a bear. You know what a bear looks like. These people ain't fools. They're not idiots. They know what they saw. It'd be like if I told you I saw a shooting star, you would believe that. But you wouldn't believe somebody saw a Bigfoot or they had an experience that just scared the living hell out of them, which is what happened to me. Um, I don't know if anybody's listening. I don't think they are right now. But I wanted to tell this story because if you got something to say, say it. You know what you saw. You know, people aren't stupid. There can't be millions of people seeing these things and having these crazy experiences. They can't all be lying. I realize there's some folks that, they want a story to tell, they want to make themselves seen or whatever. Fine. There's a lot of folks like that. But you can listen to somebody. If you just listen to them, you can tell if they're full of it or not. If you just listen to them. Hell, having said all that I've said, maybe once I get 1,000 subscribers, we can have some folks on here and I can get better video by this time. Then I'll be able to have some folks come on and let's have a show and let's talk about stuff like this. I think it's worthwhile to talk about it. I mean, there's strange things that happen. There are strange, there's things that happen that you just can't explain. And why not talk about it? Having said all that, I'll show you a couple of glass arrowheads. Um, I'm not done with them. I got to rework them. Truth is, I can't see very well, and I got to go see if I can't find me some newer glasses because it's hard for me to focus. Let's see. This here is some TV glass that I made into a spearhead. You can make a knife out of it. I'm gonna rework it. I want to get this. I gotta get some. Let me show you. I want to get some of this stuff right here a little bit thinner. See, my wife says hold it like this. That's TV glass. Don't you know that bad boy right there would have put a hurt on you if you had that on the end of a spear. What do you think about that? Let me show it up close. And there's plenty of nappers out there that do a fine job, and they're good nappers. I can't show you everything I've ever done because I've already sold what I've sold in the past, and I didn't get to take pictures of them. But I think what I'm going to start doing is, even if I don't film myself making them, which is I want to do, after I make them, I'll do a little quick video, maybe a 5-minute video or something, and show you what I did, and I'll tell you the name of the stone. Here's another one. All these are going to get reworked. I'm not done with them yet. And I mean, you can still put them on the end of a stick. They're not too thick. You just have to have a little bit thicker um, shaft to go on here, but I want to make it a little bit thinner. So slide on like that, and you can make you a spearhead and put a feather on it and hang it on your wall. And those of you who are Seminole fans, Now here's one made out of. I love this color, and I got a bunch of this glass, and I'm gonna make some. I just hate working with glass. But this is what do you call it? It's not marine glass. It's I, aquarium glass. I'm sorry. Check it out there. I love that color. It's just kind of a real pretty color. Watch. I'll rework it too. See, look at the flakes on it. Isn't that cool? Now, I had to put them on in a stick and chunk that, but I watched a dude do that on a video, and they hold up really good. They don't break as easy as you think. I'm gonna rework this in here. Let's go make a knife out of it, but I think it's too thin. And as you can see, it's a little lumpy right here. I get started on something sometimes and I can't focus on what I'm doing because I can't see so good. But I'll go back and get these lumps out. I'll make a spearhead out of this. Let's see, watch it. Put it over here. And this is TV glass. And here's another piece of aquarium glass. And I made it like this. The idea was like put it on like a hatchet. I don't know. I might just knock this part right here out on the end where you put the shaft. I might knock that out thinner to where you can make a spear out of it or something. Got a little more work to do on it. But that will put a hurt on you if you was to get it through at you. But I thought I'd share that to you before I go. I'm sorry if I ramble too much. Some people don't like to hear me talk. I'm not much of a good talker. But I want to share this story with you because others has got something to say too. Um, you shouldn't be called a liar for what you had happen to you. Alrighty then. I guess I'll just let y'all go. I don't see anybody chatting in the comments or commenting in the chat. Sorry to say. But I've said my piece. And if others have got something they want to talk about, they want to tell people, they are not to feel intimidated about it. Having said all that, I bid y'all a good day.